Hey, speaking lifestyle, let's see who's hopping on. Today I want to talk about something really simple. It's going to be a quick Facebook Live unless you guys got some questions. But ultimately, I just want to talk about a simple thing that several people have asked me from time to time, or several comments where people say, what if the event doesn't allow you to record? And this happened several times where people ask me this several times, like, well, what if they just say you can't record your presentation? And I always thought this was kind of a weird question. I remember first time I got this question, I was like, what do you mean? What if they don't let you record? What you talking about? I always thought it was a really weird question because it doesn't really happen. But I'm going to show you a video, conversation that I had with a Speak Pro Academy member where he brought this up. And you're going to see the little differences between what he did versus what I do. And that is honestly the reason why you will ever get people to say to you, you can't record your presentation. So I'm going to show you guys this video in just a second. Let's see who's hopping on real quick. What's up, Alex, Ernesto, everyone else, Dennis, Guy, Jazzy. What's up, peeps? McBride, Sean McBride. That really just sounds like, Sean, your name, it really sounds like a wrestler's name. Sean McBride. So what's up, Glenn? So like I said, today it's really simple. A lot of speakers think events will tell them you can't record your presentation. And once again, I've been asked this several times. They say, well, what if they tell you can't record your presentation? And that's why I'm going to show you this conversation that I had with a Speak Pro member. And I want you to take notes about what's the difference. Like, take notes between the difference between what he says and what most speakers say versus what I do. Like, there's a huge, huge difference. And I realize this is why if you ever get an event where they tell you can't record, this is why it happens. And so, what's up, Nick? So let's actually get to this. All right, let's get to this video. So, and by the way, guys, if you have any questions, make sure you ask now, because once this video's done, we're kind of done in a way. This is going to be maybe about 15 minutes or so. Well, the video's about 5 minutes, but this whole thing's going to be about 15 minutes. So once I'm done, just ask questions, and then I'll see if there are any questions. So let's get to this.
You know, and that's a problem I've been having is getting video at events because no one wants to let me do it.
That's because you're doing it wrong. So it's your presentation. You don't ask for permission. You do it. Like that. That's the thing. You don't ask if you can record it. You record it. There's nothing they can do about that. It's your presentation. So you're telling them what's going to happen. And it's one of the reasons why I thought it was so weird how speakers and other people told me that, like, well, what if they don't let you record? Like, it doesn't make any sense. That's like saying, well, what if they don't let you use your phone? Like, it's not possible. So it's, the only exception is if you're doing something for the White House or something like that. But if you're doing a normal gig, you tell them, you say like, hey, do you guys have a video crew who can record my presentation? And a lot of times if it's corporate, they actually do. And then you just get the video footage. If it's not, then you just record it anyways. Like, you just say, after they say no, then you say, okay, and that's it. And then you just go with your camera and you record it. That's it. You don't ask for permission.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's one of the things where people, like, once again, people are thinking about that too much instead of actually doing it. You got to think in terms of, you just got to be more aggressive with your marketing, with everything in terms of business. It's one of those things where you ask for forgiveness instead of permission. I've literally only had one person ever say that I couldn't record, and this was years ago. Like, this was like, I think I was in high school, maybe. Yeah, I was in high school, maybe college or something. And they said, they were like, this is a VIP and all that. And it was like $5,000 or something for the gig. And then I said, okay, I asked it wrong too. Like, at the time I didn't know. I was like, well, can I record? And they were like, no, we can't let you record. And then I said, okay, well, not interested. I actually turned down the gig because I was like, what's the point? And,
wow.
Yeah. And so, but a lot of the reason it happened is because you're asking instead of telling. You don't ask, you tell them what you're going to do. It's literally like you saying, hey, can I have a PowerPoint for my presentation? Like, it doesn't make any sense to say that. You're like, all right, I'm having a PowerPoint. I need a stage riser like this. I need a board on, like, you need to tell them everything. Like that's what you have to do.
Benji, that is so huge, because that's exactly what I do is I ask.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I record, or I'm looking for video, or But I just need to show up and record it. Just,
Yeah.
like even if it's a friend with an iPhone, it's better than, because I just don't have any footage. I have one event, it was a few years ago when clients do ask, like, well, are you in front of an audience? But like I can send you this one thing they ask that I don't put it on my website, but I'll send it to you as a private link. And, but I want that on my website, and the way you break it down in the, Big Pro Academy about how to do it and the pattern interrupt and all that. Like, I want to do all that, but I just don't have enough footage. But, that is huge, man. I can't tell you how great that is.
Yeah, like literally all you got to do is like once you get the gig, you just say like, hey, are you guys going to have, and I always do it after I actually get the gig. So not before so after I get the gig, I send them an email and I say, hey, are you guys going to have a video crew there who's going to record the presentation? And then usually they'll say like, oh, do you want one? Or like, do you want us to record? So it's usually like that, or I've rarely gotten someone to say like no, because the corporate market, they almost always record. And a lot of times they'll even say like, no one's going to be there. Do you want someone there? And I've had that happen several times. So you'll see a difference between you asking and then you telling them. So you need to tell them instead of ask.
Man, I'm going to go buy some marble and make a statue in your honor. That's just huge. That's amazing. I just didn't see it that way at all. That's so great.
Cool.
Well, cool. I know we only have a couple minutes left. Do you mind if I ask you just one more question? Or is there anything else you want to wrap up and tell me?
Let's see. No, the main thing I want to tell you was the website, and then just the demotivation. You just kind of ignore it. More like basically like you turn into a stoic and think more along the lines of you just being more aggressive with everything in terms of the marketing and all that sort of stuff. A lot of people, they're too indirect with people, with the world. They're too indirect, and you just got to be more direct and everything like that. So that's pretty much what it comes down to. All right, so that was pretty much that's the difference. When people say to me, they asked an event and the event said, no, we're not going to let you record. That is why they're not letting you record, because you asked them instead of you telling them you're going to record. And I don't know how to really describe the difference other than it's just pure assertiveness. It's a matter of, this is my presentation. I'm going to record my presentation. There's nothing you can do about it. That's kind of what's going on inside of your brain. And like I said, I've only had it happen one time, and that was years ago, because I did it the same way that most people do it, where you say, can I record the presentation? Their default mode when you ask that question is, oh, I don't know, like audience members. I mean, what if they don't want to be on video? What if they don't want to be filmed? And like, that's their default thinking. So they're going to say, nah, I'm sorry, you can't really record it. On the other hand, if you just say like, oh yeah, so we're going to record it. I'm going to bring two of my people. So yeah, we're just going to record it. Like, if you just tell them that, then they're like, okay, cool. And notice what I said to them. I also said, how you ask, and basically when you ask determines if you get the ask. So I always always tell them I'm going to record it after the gig is booked. So remember the pipeline. The pipeline is incoming questions, quote, contract, close. And I'm always following the pipeline. Whenever I talk to an event, whenever you talk to an event, you have to focus on one thing. What's that one thing? Getting the gig. You close the gig. That's what you focus on. You're not focusing on anything else. You're not focusing on recording, none of that stuff. You're simply focusing on closing the gig. Once the gig is closed, then you ask your other questions. Then you start saying things like, okay, cool. Send the contract here, send the 50% deposit. By the way, I'm going to record the presentation. Do you have someone who can actually record the presentation for us? So once again, you control the conversation by asking them certain questions. You're asking a question by assuming the answer is already yes. So I assume they're going to let me record, which means the only question I'm going to ask is, who do you guys have that can actually record my presentation? This is why it blows my mind when speakers keep saying things like, oh, don't allow them to record your presentation because then they may distribute it to everyone. What are you talking about? That's exactly what you want people to do. You want people to record. You want them to post it online. You want them to promote you for free. What are you talking about not letting them record? You need to slap yourself silly. What are you talking about? And so it's really important that you understand how you ask determines what you get. This is why, like, a lot of people, they struggle because they just don't ask the right way, or they don't tell people the right way. A lot of success tends to be invisible to unsuccessful people. And this is why, like, when people say things to me like, I did cold emailing and it didn't work. No, you did it wrong. That's why it didn't work, because you couldn't see what you were doing wrong. You thought you were doing the same thing as this person who's cold emailing, doing it right, getting all the gigs. You thought you were doing the same thing. In reality, it was invisible. You couldn't see what was wrong. It's very similar to when people say to me, I've got a great website, or I have a speaker website. It doesn't matter if you have a website. The only thing that matters is it great? Success tends to be invisible to unsuccessful people. They think they're doing the same things, but they're doing it the wrong way, which is why they're not getting the same result. And so the same goes with you getting a recording of your presentation, where once again, it's a difference between saying, can I record my presentation, versus saying, after you close the gig, you say, by the way, do you have anybody who can actually record our presentation, or who can record my presentation? It's very, very different in terms of saying that. And also understand, especially if you're doing the corporate market, corporate and college market, both of them, they usually have people there who are going to record. On top of that, like college market, they have a whole freaking video educational program where that's all they do. So hell yeah, they want to record your presentation so they can get some practice in. They'll probably get some credits for it. So you have to understand that what's happening, you're playing a what if game. When people say things like, what if they don't let me record it? You're always playing a what if game, and you're going to lose a what if game. If you keep saying what if this, what if that, you're going to lose a what if game. And so that's why you got to remember, in the corporate market, college market, they want to record your presentation. They usually are recording it. So you want to tell them, hey, is somebody there? Like, do you guys have somebody who's going to record? And if they say no, a lot of times I will actually ask them too. If they don't say, like, if I say, will you have someone there who can record, and they say no, I will even ask them, well, any chance you can bring someone? Like, I will straight up ask them. I have no problem asking them. And the reason is because most of the times they will get better video footage than you ever could, because they will actually have a pro video guy there who's going to literally be in the back of the room. He'll be able to move the camera if you're moving around stage. So they're going to have a pro video guy. So you simply tell them, like, you don't ask, you tell them. The only time you ever ask is during a negotiation. So if you are negotiating a price, and then remember your whole goal is to get to the close as fast as possible. So you want to get the price out of the way, get to the close as fast as possible down the pipeline. So if you say it's $10,000 for your speech, and they say, oh, that's more than our budget. And then you say, well, what is your budget? They say, oh, our budget's $5,000. Okay, I'll do it as long as you guys let me record. So it's kind of like you are asking at that point, but once again, you're still telling them in a way. It's kind of like if they say no, then you say, okay, fine, I'm not going to do it then. Like, why would I decrease my fee if you guys aren't going to at least let me record? So once again, you're still telling them, you're just telling them in a question of asking them. So that's the only time you technically ask. The other times you're telling them you're going to record. And a lot of people say, well, don't you need, what is that? The consent forms or whatever for people to be filmed. In fact, Sean is here. Sean is an actual lawyer. I'm pretty sure you do not need it because it's in public anyways. And on top of that, you got to remember that nobody's going to sue your ass. You are not big enough to be sued. I will tell you right now, I know for a fact, David Blaine, like the magician David Blaine, they did not have people sign those consent forms to be on TV. I know this for a fact because I know his consultant who is literally there handing out forms. Sometimes they would hand out forms to 2 people, and then everyone else, they wouldn't hand out forms. A lot of times he said they just didn't even have anyone sign anything. And so you got to remember, if David Blaine can do it and it's on national TV and nothing's happening with him, you can do it and not worry about getting sued. But once again, I mean, Sean, he knows better than me. Sean's an actual lawyer. Once again, these are things that people ask themselves, these what if questions. It doesn't make any sense. And so don't ask like what if questions in terms of stuff like that. just understand, like, they're going to record for you. There's also very little benefit if you do a gig without getting it recorded, because the gig, it's kind of like it comes and goes. That's it. Sure, you got the money, but so what? You got the money. That's not going to last you all that long. What's going to last you for a long time is that video footage. So you have to focus on that video footage, getting it, and you simply get it by telling them you're going to record. That's what it comes down to. A lot of people are too indirect, and when you're indirect, you don't get what you want out of life. Too many people are way too damn indirect. They want other people to guess what they want and all. You got to be way more direct with everything that you're doing in life. I mean, I'm not talking about just speaking. I mean, in life, you got to start being more direct with people. Most people, they just don't get what they want because they simply allow others to dictate what they can have. You have to start dictating what you want. You have to start telling instead of asking. You got to start being more direct instead of indirect. You got to start being more assertive instead of whatever the opposite of assertive is, unassertive. There you go. So you got to make sure that you understand that most people, they don't get what they want because they allow others to dictate what they can have. That's ultimately what everything comes down to. So if there are any questions, I'll answer the questions. If not, we are good to go for today. So let's see. Wani said, my last presentation, I didn't even ask. I just showed up with my photographer, videographer, and recorded the whole thing. I didn't know you then, Benji, so I didn't get video testimonials. Yeah, exactly. See, like Wani, you get it. I mean, Wani understood, hey, it's your presentation. There's pretty much no reason to ask other than asking them if they have someone there who can record it. I will ask that every single time. I'll say, is there somebody there who can record it? And a lot of times I'll word it in a way where it almost sounds like they're in the wrong for recording my presentation. So I'll say it in a way where it's like, are you going to have someone who's going to record my presentation? And they'll respond by saying, oh, well, I mean, yeah, but did you not want it to be recorded? Like they'll respond in that way and say, oh, no, I want it to be recorded for sure. Like I want it to be recorded. You guys can spread it all over the internet if you want. Be my guest. And so you just got to understand, like, hey, it's your presentation. The only reason you're getting this problem is because you're too indirect and you're unassertive. And so you have to start being more assertive with everything. Just assertive in terms of your follow-up, assertive with everything. That's how you start to get what you want. So let's see. Sean, the lawyer, said, I think the big issue is if someone is talking or shown on camera, if you are getting back, it has low risks. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is one of the things where, once again, I think people, they overthink the whole thing, the legalities of it. Once again, it's like, you are not freaking Tony Robbins. Your ass is not going to get sued for this. Imagine what they do with the Netflix specials and all that, like Kevin Hart, or an arena full of people. I'm pretty sure they do not have people sign freaking forms. I'm pretty sure it would take so long to have people sign from some freaking forms. That'd be ridiculous in those large arenas, even though Netflix is recording it. It's just presumed. So just make sure you're being more direct with everything that you do. I'm telling you, if you're more direct and more assertive, you'll start to get more of what you want. So see, Alex said, I'm too indirect, but I believe in subtlety and finesse. And then I usually get what I want. I suppose you disagree. Yeah, I mean, if you look at anyone who is super successful, you will see that they're straight to the point, mostly because they don't want to waste their time. And once again, it's a thing of like not wasting your time. And I'm telling you, the more indirect you are, the less likely you're going to get what you want, because you're trying to get someone to guess what you want. And so what happens is people, like when you try to have people guess what you want, they'll get it wrong. I mean, you might as well just tell them, hey, record the presentation. In fact, if you want, send it out to everybody. Hey, send it out do you have an email list? Freaking blast it. I mean, do you want to put some Facebook ads on there as well? I mean, shoot, do all you want with my presentation. Sell it if you want. Be my guest. And that's what you do. And you just got to be more assertive in terms of the video footage and telling them you're going to record. And by the way, if you do get sued, it's not my fault. It's Sean's fault. Sean's the lawyer who gave you the advice. So it's Sean's fault, by the way. All right. So I guess we are good to go for today. I don't see any more questions. Let's see. See my last presentation. All right. And by the way, remember guys, to all you Speak Pro Academy members, well, to everyone in general, until April 30th. April 30th is the last day where the Speak Pro Academy, it's more than half off. So normally the lifetime fee is $5,000. If you guys join before April 30th, it is $1,997, $1,997. If you join before the 30th, other than that, it's going to go back up to the lifetime fee of $5,000. So we are good to go for today. I will see you guys soon, 9 a.m. Pacific time on these live sessions. Take care, everybody. Adios. Goodbye. Toodles.